Good evening. You've got More Than Money. You've got Gene Dickinson, your host. Happy to be with you. Hopefully that you will be with us for the entire half hour of our show this evening. I think you'll pick up some really good ideas, maybe stimulate some thinking on your part, maybe spark some questions that you might want to send along. We'll talk about that in a second for sure. But first, I want to welcome everyone who has just joined us for the very first time. We are 6 seasons in to our partnership with PBS, and really thrilled. We have had responses from all across the country. Fantastic folks that are picking it up on both their local PBS systems and on Passport, which is fantastic. People go online with their memberships to PBS. They get to see all kinds of shows, learn all kinds of things. We happen to be part of that. You are very kind. So if you are, for the very first time joining us, welcome. A couple things. Half an hour goes very quickly. Don't doze off. Don't get distracted because you'll miss a lot. And number two, if you find yourself being even mildly entertained at any juncture, you have my sincerest apologies. He said, tongue-in-cheek. One of the things we do occasionally is that we take a peek behind the curtains. And tonight, the peek behind the curtains is not here. It's in the More Than Money world. We mention often that if you send us your emails, gene@askmtm.com, we answer every single one back. I keep saying we. It's because there are so very many of our More Than Money advisors. They are at your service. No charge, no obligation to answer the questions that are most important to you. That's fantastic. The behind the scenes, the behind the curtain thing that I want to share with you is the work environment. Our More Than Money office has a rather, I think, interesting, appropriate and interesting work philosophy. And that is, very important, we take our work very seriously. The work we do for you, we take very seriously. We don't take ourselves very seriously at all. And what makes this interesting, over the holidays, I had the chance to spend a little time in my personal library. I happen to own a couple books here and there, a couple tapes here and there. All right, it might be more than a couple. And one of the gentlemen I studied for decades, a gentleman named Brian Tracy. He's a very bright guy, has always been a tremendous asset in terms of helping me understand my business and how best to approach it. But it's fascinating. I pulled out one of his original courses from many years ago, 30 plus years ago. And one of the things that he was very stern about, you work when you work. You don't play at work. There's no serious, you got to be serious. There's no tomfoolery. There's no shenanigans. This is work. And he could not have been more off base. Now, many years ago, maybe that was true. I don't think so, but maybe that was true. So when you have that opportunity to engage with someone on our More Than Money team, understand that you're dealing with someone who really is serious about being of maximum value to you, but is also relaxed and enjoys coming to work. And isn't that the kind of person that you want as your financial advisor? Something to think about. Speaking of something to think about, something I've been thinking about for quite some time is a shake-up here at the show. Something's got to give. And I say all that tongue-in-cheek because Megan, our financial correspondent, will be taking a hiatus from More Than Money. She's got some professional education that she would like to attend to, and we're so excited for her. We are so sad to be losing her for quite a few months, but we are excited for her future. And Megs, I'm going to miss you on air.
I'm going to miss being here. I love coming to do the show. I love the PBS team. I love our viewers. I'm always surprised when people send an email and it's to Gene and Megan. So I'm just pleasantly surprised by how amazing this experience has been. And I've been able to learn bunch of stuff just by hearing the answers. And yeah, I'm just gonna miss it. But if you ever miss me, we do have old episodes on our website and YouTube and stuff that you can always see my face. But I'll make an appearance again.
Oh, without a doubt. And for those of you who have not figured all this out, Megan and I are very close. And I am beyond thrilled. My small sacrifice of losing her on air for her ability to move into areas that are very exciting for her, it couldn't make me prouder. I'm very, very proud of her. So having said all of that, do you want to give us a question for your last show here for the moment?
I would love to.
Yes.
Our first question tonight says, I appreciate your sage advice. I have gained a lot of useful information watching your show. I am 84 years old. My wife is 71. We are both retired and receive about $15,500 monthly from Social Security, 403B annuities, and my RMD. In addition, we have approximately $4.8 million in 403B plans, Roth IRAs, broker accounts, and CDs. In 2026, my wife will begin her RMD, which I estimate to be about $4,500 per month. We have no debts or mortgages. We are able to live comfortably, travel, and put away money each month. My 59-year-old son, only child, was recently diagnosed with liver cancer. His future is uncertain. He is married with 2 adult children and 2 granddaughters. Due to his health issues, he will be going on disability until retirement age and then drawing upon his pension. Upon his retirement, his monthly income will decrease. He owes about $80,000 on his mortgage. His home is worth about $2 million. I don't know what his monthly mortgage payment is. I was thinking if he no longer had a mortgage, his monthly expenses would drop considerably. I was considering paying off his mortgage, early inheritance, to help out. But what do you think of this plan, and are there any factors which I should consider? Thank you so much.
Well, first of all, thank you for trusting us with these questions. Your son's challenge is significant, and we send prayers and hope and life and energy are in his future. The challenges are significant, but not insurmountable. And keeping a very positive, very eyes on the horizon posture is very, very important. We're not Pollyannas here. We understand that the monster that cancer is takes our friends and our family. But some folks seem to do much better than others. So with incredibly good treatment, which I'm sure you will support without a doubt, and a positive, uplifted attitude, give him the best possible way to fight the monster and to be there for his daughters, his wife, his daughters, his granddaughters. So that's my first piece of advice to you, is to encourage, surround him with that positivity, surround him with that life and that energy. Make sure that he has every tool at his disposal to have excitement about his future, a pull from where he is into his future. Now, number 2, your instinct is correct. Having a little less financial burden could be a positive. It could be. In this particular case, your suggestion about paying off the mortgage is a very nice step. It is something you can easily do. It is something that will indeed reduce the monthly expenses for the family modestly. An $80,000 balance on a $2 million home is not the issue in terms of relief from financial stress. My suspicion is that the real estate taxes, the insurance, the maintenance on the home far outweigh a relatively small mortgage payment. But based on what you've told me in terms of your assets, it's something you can easily do. So why not? Why not start your future planning for your son and his family by saying, we're going to start with clearing the decks. Let's get rid of this nuisance loan that you've got, and that's a good first step. But going forward is where the real support is going to be important. I was intrigued by the fact that you're currently able to save money on the income that you've got, and yet your wife will soon begin her RMD with $4,500 a month, $50,000 a year. Now we're talking real money. And now we're talking about having a family approach, a family strategic meeting about where can we provide the most bang for our buck in terms of supporting our son, daughter-in-law, and the kids, so that they have, maybe it's an educational issue. We don't know how old the children are. I'm taking a peek to adult children, to grandchildren. We don't know how old the grandchildren are. Maybe it would give him more peace of mind if he knew that their education was paid for. You can easily do that. Maybe it would give him more peace of mind if there were something to set up so that should things unfold poorly, that his family knows that their home is secure, not from the mortgage, but from the real expenses, the maintenance, the real estate taxes, etc. So first and foremost, sit with a trusted, experienced estate and elder law attorney. Make sure you're coordinating with your financial advisor and your tax advisor so that you're looking at every single avenue for you, for your son and his family to have the most positive emotional impact. Many cases, small dollars have very big positive influences on how we feel. So if a granddaughter is 12 years old and you can say, we're going to take care of college, that might very well be a tremendous relief. We don't know, I don't know exactly where the dollars are best placed, but you're blessed. You are blessed. You have a wonderful, you have accumulated a wonderful investment portfolio. Put that to really good use. Put that to the best possible use of supporting your son and his family at a time when they need it desperately. Trusted, experienced estate and elder law attorney, a good tax planner, good financial advisor. Put the plan together and follow it through. Well done. Megs, where next?
Well, definitely changing the tone, but yes, prayers to their family for sure. This one says, you often talk on your shows about your advisors reviewing their client investments every 90 days. Wondering, is it really necessary to change up investments that often? And doesn't that just run up expenses?
Well, aren't we the cynical one? Goodness. Let me start with the second piece first. 20 years ago, the answer would have been yes. It's called churning. It's a very bad thing. It's a very bad thing for a professional investment advisor to be doing. Churning says, you gave me $100,000 to invest. At the end of the year, I have bought and sold so many stocks that your 1099 reflects hundreds of thousands of dollars of gains and losses. Because I've been buying and selling and buying and selling and buying and selling. Because 20 years ago, 10 years ago, commissions were how I got paid. So if I bought something for $10,000, sold it 2 weeks later, bought something new, 2 weeks, I could recycle and churn through your investment account. And instead of earning commissions on $100,000, I could earn commissions on $500,000, $1 million. Some folks went hog wild. It's illegal. It does not benefit the client. So it's illegal. It's called churning. That issue has largely gone away. Using Charles Schwab as an example, there are many other online brokers, many other brokers, custodians that financial advisors use, but we'll use Charles Schwab as an example. If you invested $100,000 and bought 100,000 of stocks, your commissions would be zero. And if you sold them 3 months later, the commission would be zero. If you sold them, bought something new, zero, zero. There are no commissions. So the motivation for a financial advisor to buy and sell, buy and sell, buy and sell, churn, is gone. They don't make any more money. As a matter of fact, they probably lose money because there's resource, there's time, there's energy, there's effort that's got to be made in order to do all that trading, and yet they make no money. So let's go back to the issue of meeting every 90 days. Our financial advisors are fiduciaries acting in the best interests of their clients. They construct portfolios that are intended to be evergreen, meaning they don't need much in the way of adjustments for changes in the economy, changes in interest rates, changes in the global picture. So what might change that would require them to make changes in the investments? You might change. Your circumstance might change. Now, not every 90 days, of course, but are there marriages? Sure. Divorces, of course. Sadly, do we lose people? Sure. Joyfully, do we have babies? Are there children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren? And maybe we're downsizing a house, maybe we're upsizing, maybe we're selling 2 houses and going into 1. The list of maybes goes, it's infinite. So meeting on a 90-day basis is not strictly an investment requirement. It is not strictly attending to, I'm selling something and I'm buying something different. That's not the case. As a matter of fact, if I were to guess, I haven't done the academic study, but if I were to guess, I would think that in our More Than Money World Headquarters, the average 90-day cycle does not produce any changes in the investment accounts. Fascinating. Maybe 1 out of 3, 1 out of 4 requires that a particular investment be pulled out or put back in. Maybe something matures and comes due and that has to be reinvested. Of course, these things happen. But in terms of a significant change in structure, 3 out of 4, 4 out of 5 reviews don't entail any of that. So why have reviews that often? Well, there's at least a couple of reasons. Number one, it keeps us on track. Keeps all of us on track. We want to have a trust bond between you as a client and an advisor. And what's the best way to build trust? Have a relationship, talk, develop that over time. And these 90-day reviews give us a chance to do that. We have met, we've collected a lot of information up front, and now we're deepening that relationship, learning what's happening in your life, things that might impact, things that you might not have thought about that might impact your financial picture. The question we just answered, in a review, we would say, so how are we doing? Well, we've got a lot of money and we got a lot of cash flow. Well, that's great. I guess we're done. No. My son is 59. He just got diagnosed with cancer. What can we do? Way more important than what stock are we going to buy. Way more important than do I do bonds or do I do structured notes. Way more important. So our 90-day review process keeps us on track, helps us build a relationship, attends to ideas, issues, challenges that are not necessarily connected to investments. And as a fiduciary, as a financial advisor, there are many great ones across the country that have the exact same philosophy. We are not just here to move money from stocks to bonds and back. That's not our role. Our role is to bring the maximum value to your life and your finances that we possibly can. That's the reason for 90-day reviews. Long-winded, but I think you got the point. Megs, is there someone else that needs me to make a rather pointed answer?
I think there might be, actually. That was a very good segue.
Oh, thank you.
Our next question says, on a recent program, a person asked about giving her house to her children or putting it in her will. I have the same problem, and I would like to hear your advice again. I understand that taxes could be involved, so I want to make the right decision. I don't think I want this on TV, since you did answer this question already, but I enjoy your show very much and I've learned a lot. Thank you for all the help you give to the people. Thanks.
Well, you're very welcome. Now, some folks will say, wait a second, she said I don't want this on TV. And yet we asked it on TV. This is TV, right? Got it. There's a really important reason for that. She is interpreting our shows as what a serial, a TV show that where one show leads into another and you got to go back. Hey, I missed that Walter White, he was a chemistry professor? Seriously? Now he makes meth? Crazy talk. Bottom line is that there are lots of questions that folks have answered in previous shows that we will re-answer. Because every question, even though they sound very similar, they have different nuances to them. And there are lots of folks who didn't hear the answer to the first time or third time or 11th time that we answered the question. So it is, again, really important that you understand there are no silly questions. If you miss something, that's fine. Circle back to us. We appreciate that. It's a chance to reinforce to everyone kind of how we think about particular topics. And this is an important topic. So, giving her house, the questions are taxes. And I use two hands because there's two kinds of taxes we have to pay attention to: inheritance taxes, income taxes. So let's paint a scenario that's not in the email, but it'll be useful for demonstration purposes. Let's say this young lady bought her home for $50,000 many, many years ago. It's now worth $450,000. On the inheritance side, if she leaves it in her estate and passes it to her children through her will, the state of Pennsylvania, we'll use that as an example, even though many of you are in different states, will charge 4.5% of $450,000, 20 grand-ish. If you're in a state where there is no inheritance tax, this becomes rather easy because the answer is 0. And you'll see why that's important when we go to the next step. So if her instinct is, I want them to not have to pay the 20 grand, then keeping it is a bad idea and giving it away is a good idea. Now, why would that not be a good idea? The income tax. I told you there was two. Income taxes. If you gift this particular home, I paid $50, it's worth $450 to the kids. You have also gifted them the $50,000 basis, cost basis. So when they sell the home for a $400,000 profit, they will pay capital gains on $400,000, about plus or minus $80,000. Now again, be very, very cautious. Make sure you're consulting with your tax advisor. Different states have different rules. Different states have different applications of those rules. Some have no inheritance taxes. Some have no capital gains on residences. So make sure you're checking with your tax advisor. But if you happen to be a resident of a state that charges inheritance taxes, and of course, if you happen to be a resident of the USA, the capital gains tax is something you have to be very, very concerned about. So in most cases, the capital gains tax is the real problem. So keeping it in your own name and leaving it to them in your will solves that problem because they receive a stepped up basis at your passing. So that instead of a $50,000 cost basis, it will be $450,000. They can sell the house and pay nothing. Not a bad idea. So make sure you're dealing with a trusted, experienced estate attorney. Make sure you're dealing with a trusted, experienced tax professional so that you can look at both sides of these coins in your particular state. Make sure you understand where the costs are and then make the decision that's best for you. Well done and thank you. Thank you very much. Megs, another?
We have another question about passing things to the next generation. This one says, I would like to make it easy, or at least simple, for my heirs, 3 equally, to transfer ownership of my stock portfolio or to turn it into cash. The bulk of my estate consists of 70 stocks held by dividend reinvestment firms. Some of the older ones have a certificate component. Thanks in advance for your help.
Yeah, our headline says, does 70 divided by 3 come out equally? Wow. This individual, bless him, bless him, is trying to make it easier for his heirs to inherit a very diverse stock portfolio. And for most of you, this is not a challenge that you find common You've invested maybe through an advisor, maybe mutual funds or exchange traded funds, but having 70 individual stocks, some of which are still in certificate form, we'll circle back and make sure we understand that, to be divided equally among 3 people sounds like this is, it would take a miracle. It does not take a miracle. It takes a little mechanics, just a little bit of work. Here's what needs to be done. This gentleman needs to set up, either through an advisor or individually, online himself, a brokerage account. And he needs to transfer into that brokerage account all of these stocks, whether they're in electronic form, most of them, certificate form, that's kind of going out of style, but everything has to be transferred into that account. Now that that account is set up to hold everything, nothing has changed. He still has all his 70 stocks. He still has some dividend reinvestments. He's got all that. The only thing that changes, he has no certificates. Those have all been deposited into the account. He can set up the account using a transfer on death designation, TOD, and name his 3 heirs as beneficiaries of that account, so that at his passing, all 70 of those stocks, however they are valued, are split equally, and they drop directly to those 3 heirs, and they drop without going through probate, without going through his will. So a little bit of work on his behalf will save his heirs a tremendous amount of work. If his heirs had walked into the More Than Money offices with, here's the situation, our dad died, he had 70 stocks everywhere, and they're all supposed to be divided equally, our head would hurt immediately. We'd get it done, but it would be painful for everyone involved. In this case, he can prevent all of that rather easily. Speaking of preventing, I can't prevent Megs from leaving us, but I can hold her seat open for her return whenever she wants. So if you want to send her an email, Megan@askmtm.com, feel free. And if you'd like to rejoin us next week as we answer questions, send us your question, Gene@askmtm.com. You might hear it here when we return to this podium for another edition of More Than Money. Good night.